Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we are working from another photo. This time it is this one, and I really like this bracelet a lot. I actually will look forward to making this. So I'm going to, because I would need the thing to use to as a guide, I'm going to rotate it. Whoops. And yeah, we're way more than 90 degrees or anything on this. This is just about trying to make it straight up and down ish, give or take. I guess that's pretty good right there. We can then go image, and then we image canvas. There it is. All right. Ended up cropping it when we did the thing earlier. So this way I can get a little bit more of it because that, yeah, I'm not sure how much of that will be. So I'm going to double up my string, which is going to make this a bit shorter. Oh, look at that. It's so tiny. All right, let's make this bigger. Let's get this kind of there and zoom it up. And we're going to put that on another layer so I can kind of move it around and we can determine like what we want to do for the center. And right off the bat, my first thought is there's two real potential places to be the center of this. One would be right in the middle of like this whole thing, and the other would be where these things cross. And to be perfectly honest, either of those would probably be pretty cool. Out of curiosity, we go here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's try from here. This is this. So from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ooh. It would end just a little bit soon. It's like, wait, let me double check this. That was the center one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 is there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Ooh. 2020. We would have to go. It's going to come in a little bit short. If we do this in the center. Okay, I know what we're going to do. This is crazy executive decision stuff, but I think I got it figured out. All right. We are going to put this in the center, right? But in the next one, instead of putting 3 of these, I'm going to see if we I want to make it, see if I can reduce it down to 2, but that doesn't seem. See, okay, completely unrehearsed, guys. I have not worked this out. Because I don't like the idea of this kind of falling short. I would like this to end sort of at the top. And I don't know how to make that necessarily work out like I want. Unless I started at the top and then just kind of make the middle do whatever it needs to. That might work. All right, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so one of the things about this pattern, it's a little bit offsetting, is the whole fact that this row is not many different strings. It is all just one colorful string that just keeps changing whatever it is. Wherever they got that from, that's totally awesome. I love it, but I don't know where that comes from. So that is what it is. All right, the first color I think I'm going to need is that darker gray that we're going to use for where the black is. And we're going to start up here. Paint tool. And yep, filling similar areas. So I'm going to go ahead and do that little diamond thing that's right here. And then that comes out sort of that away to make room for these other diamonds. And we're going to use that sort of a pinkish thing for the white instead. Right? And then so that one goes and does diamonds 3 times. Again, this is unconventional for me. If you guys have watched my videos long enough, you're probably wondering like, the heck is he doing? Because even I'm kind of questioning what the heck am I doing. But I think we're going to make a very interesting bracelet. And that's, you know, the whole finding other ways. Otherwise, it's always, you know, it would be no fun if everything I do is always the same thing, right? So let's do this. All right, so I need a color to represent the one that's doing all of the changing. I'm just going to go with this crazy bright red for that. No particular reason, just it's right there. I could pick it, and I thought that would be kind of cool. Oh, wait, something. It goes to there and then pops back out, right? So that's the kind of, well, gimmicky part of it, right? Is the fact that it sort of, it disappears for a second and then pops back. And that's why it needs to have the 3 diamonds. I was thinking I could get away with just doing the 2. So maybe in the center it doesn't do that same thing again. I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out real soon because the middle is coming up super fast. Okay, so once we get done where the colors join back in, we have the black goes and does this thing again. And then, oh, look at that. And this isn't bad. Very unexpected. So, yeah, it's this in the center of these. That was kind of, yeah, I totally get that. Well, this is going to be really nice indeed. Okay, so outside of the one that changed the colors is the dark again, and that comes in and does this. And this, if done right, will give like, you know, like so much contrast to whatever is sandwiched inside of it. Now I do have some variegated string, nothing like this. Like I don't even know where that even comes from. If you do know where that comes from, I would like to try it. That would be fun. We'll even do some bracelets that are like single thread just to really fully take advantage of that. Hopefully it's not too thin. Because we know like DMC floss is a whole lot thinner than like the stuff from China. So that would, it might be a bit of a problem. if we do that. All right. So the next color is the white that sort of kind of hugs along this line. So we're going to have this like all filled in, and we just have to actually fill in the underlying strings, which is fine. Should be relatively easy, especially if we take out the blatantly obvious ones first. And then the last color is the one that ends up in the center of these, as well as out in these two spots here, which is hardly used, but it's a thing. So let's I was gonna sure, kind of a blue. I'm giving it more contrast than just like a light gray or something, because I want it to be really kind of noticeable for the pattern making portion. You can use whatever color you want for it. My point here is that just make it easy to see which string is which. Because at the end of the day, when you're trying to follow a pattern and it's sort of difficult because everything looks the same, yeah, that takes a lot of the fun out of it, makes it take longer than normal, and nobody wants that. Do, 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 do. So you can tell I went with the absolute easiest one, which is this bright red. Again, when you're trying to create a pattern, if you sort out where the string goes for the absolute easiest ones, everything else will be easier. It's just a fact. Ooh. Every once in a while, you go to fill in one of the squares and it just goes off somehow. I don't know what that's about. All right. So the next one we will do is, well, it's a black string, even though we used a gray. And it too it's pretty straightforward. It obviously changes directions periodically, like right here, it was going to the left, and then it turns and goes to the right. So this makes this bracelet a more of an intermediate kind of design. Is this one going to be really difficult? I don't think so. We'll find out next week when I actually make it, like how hard it potentially is. But honestly, these little diamonds here are a little bit like doing arrowheads. It just sort of repeats instead. So yeah, if you can do arrowheads, you could probably do this one pretty easily. The color that's going to absolutely get used the most will be this, what we have represented by the red. That one just does not get a break. This one barely gets a break. You're going to want your strings, for the most part, cut kind of long for this, with the exception of where we have this blue. That blue, it barely gets used. It's just not going to happen. All right, we're going to stay on this theme with the gray ones, because well, they're kind of easy. They're not trying to hide where they're going at all. Everything else sort of does a lot of work behind the scenes. So again, just get these things out of the way. I don't know what colors I'm actually going to use for this. I think I will have to determine my colors based on what I find for the variegated, right? I have different ones. But yeah, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Like, find out what that is, then find a nice contrast to it. So maybe instead of doing the black color, let's say hypothetically, I do the I don't know, I have like a red to white kind of fade. So then I could do like a deep burgundy or like a maroon or something to kind of flank that, to really kind of get that color to come out and just really pop. And then from there, um, what would I do for out here? Maybe I want to say like it could still be kind of pinks and stuff, but well, I guess there's a divider. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to get confused if the same shade of pink is in that variegated, if it's inside of here, because the dark one kind of barricades it away. So yeah, they could totally go with pinks. There's just a lot of possibilities. So you can see this is just really kind of zigzagging back and forth. It kind of came in. We kind of knew that it would bounce off of the red here. That's easy. It's going to do that again here. And at this point, it comes out all the way out here to the other one. So at this point here, there is a possibility of changing the direction by not making it zigzag, right? Like we made it go here, a left and then a right. But if we let that go straight, this one that wasn't getting used much would get traded for the one that was getting used more. And you can let that kind of bounce back and forth as you're going along. And it might make it easier so you don't run out of strings as you're going. Like, or you can kind of gauge it. Just take a look, you know, when you get to the points. If you need to trade, trade. Oops. There we go. So that's that one. Okay, so this one, I can look up here and I can kind of see ahead, like what's going to happen. But let's just, for argument's sake, say that you were confused and you didn't know where this was going to come from. You can start from where the blue is and trace it backwards and see that obviously it would have to change directions off of this gray based on the way it went. And then it would bounce off of this gray from where that went, and it would come out up here. I could see that that was going to happen, but in case, you know, you're kind of new to this, you're wondering how this is going to work. There you go. Now you know. I'm kind of wondering, it's like we have 3 more strings left, but like 1 more color, which is sort of, we will see. Part of me says that because that variegated one is use so much, we could trade that up. But the thing about that is when it's variegated, like sometimes if you try to get them to trade, um, what can happen is they it makes it like really super obvious that it's two different strings because it's as instead of like a subtle change, it's suddenly super abrupt. So check this out. This is interesting. There has to be another one of the blues because, like, if we look at the original, right, we have the grays out here and we have the grays in here, but that blue only comes in contact with the very end. So there's another one in there. So we have two strings and two colors to go. So and then this one comes all the way back to this in the center, which is going to be cute. The fact that there's like just one little thing right smack dab in the middle. I love that. All right. So this, the color that we use to kind of represent the white, that can kind of go this way. And we'll let it come all the way up to the top, I guess. So, oops. I don't know where the photo came from. Again, these are pictures that I put aside as, oh, this would be good for inspiration. Try this some other time. Quite some time ago, I put it into an app in 2020 with the whole intention that, I would turn them into stuff. And then it just sort of sat there. The app was more difficult to use than I had anticipated, so I didn't use it. And then recently I was just like, what kind of stuff should I work on? Remembered that I had some photos over there, downloaded them, and was like, let's try this. I have a lot more, honestly. Like I have a lot more. I like looking at the photos. Oops. Um, on the various social medias, and yeah, a lot of them can give me a lot of inspiration and want to try things and curious how many strings it might be. And in which case, this one is there's 8 strings going into the loop or 16 coming down. Depends on how you want to count that. So yeah, that's kind of thing. All right. So remember how I showed you how we traced upwards to see which way it went? We are a long ways from here, and I could try to do it, just by eye. But obviously, doing this would be a whole lot easier. And one of the things about doing this, I want to point out, is like I could have made it suddenly zig in right here, but those tend to be a little bit more difficult. If you just let it go out the end, it just a little bit more natural. So, seeing as how I can kind of go either way with it, just do it as easy as possible. Try not to make life any more difficult than need be. And then I'm also kind of double checking over here to make sure that, yep, both sides are doing the same thing. That would be super confusing if you tried to make it just one side is different from the other. It would just, as you're making the bracelet, checking the pattern would be that much harder. So now we got 2 black, 2 white, 2 blue. I guess we're gonna go with the red. if for no other reason, it'll give us the chance to maybe swap out if necessary. And it'll also make it a little bit easier when cutting up the string, I guess. Well, not really. It means, because I'll need 4 strands, that means I'll need 2 skeins of every color. But yeah, this string here is almost useless. To be honest, I don't. Because I don't have a whole lot of the embroidery or of the variegated, I think we're gonna just go ahead and color this in with the whites, right? If I'm gonna do 2 skeins of, say, the white, that would be 6 individual strands. That's enough to cover one side. And then I just need 1 skein for the variegated. So kind of an executive decision there. You can change this one. Honestly, this is, you know, it would be able to see, you could exchange it right there if you went with the variegated. But this sort of makes more sense to me. Lets me kind of conserve some of the floss that I don't have much of. Which I know most people probably think I have a ton, because comparatively speaking, compared to most people, yeah, I probably do have a ton. But there's not that many variegated ones in my collection. I typically don't use them very often. So that's the thing. All right, so I'll get rid of the pattern inspiration thing at this point. Here is our top half. We're going to get the select tool, and we are going to go down to our little guideline. We're going to copy and paste it, and then we'll use the flip tool to flip that vertically. Slide this down into place. When you have the move tool, you can use your little arrow keys to shift that over. Make sure that's all nice and straight, and then you anchor the layer. And there's our bracelet. That turned out really, really, really cool. All right, so for fun, because it was variegated and super colorful, let's kind of do that. So this is the select by color tool, and we're going to select our bright red here. And then we're going to go over here, and this is the gradient tool, and we're going to change that from the whatever it was on before. It was like foreground to background. This is custom. I don't know what custom looks like per se, but yeah, we'll do custom. And we're going to have to zoom out a ways because we're going to have to make a line from one end to the other. There we go. Look at that. Greens, purples, reds, all the whole gambit. To get rid of the tool, we get the move tool, and we can just hit Control A to select all. And now it changes colors, and that'll look really cool for the pattern as well as my thumbnail. So I'm kind of excited about that. All right, guys, that's been a fun one. Thank you to my Patreon and my YouTube members for making my tutorials possible. I honestly, I would not have been able to get this far in my video profession if not for these guys. So thank you guys very, very much. We still have another one of these to do for tomorrow. Don't know what it is yet, but yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.